All right, welcome back here to the Gill Athletics Track and Field Connections podcast. Super excited that you would join us once again. It's really a thrill to be the host here. This is our halfway kind of through our 5th season. We're inching closer and closer to episode 300, which is bonkers to me to think that we would even make it this far, and we only make it because you press play on a weekly basis. So super grateful for you and joining us week after week. Just really truly grateful for you guys. This week I'm excited because, every once in a while, not only do I get a guest and, we get to go through their history and uplift and honor what they do, but I also get to invite friends on here. And this is a case where coach and friend, and I'm just super excited to share his journey with you and learn and just have some fun. I feel like this one's going to be a lot of fun here, to be real honest with you. So help me welcome the head coach from the University of Arkansas, Pine Bluff, the wise, the wonderful Mr. Chris McCoy. Chris, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Mike. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I like to guess. I like mascots, and I think I know this one. Pine Bluff. You're something like the Lions or Golden Lions or something like that,
Golden
right?
Lions.
That's it. I
Yeah.
knew it. Yeah. I like it. And
Yeah.
it's a unique one, which I like. It's
Yeah,
Golden
it
Lions.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I remember that. Well, Chris, how are you doing today, man?
I'm doing great. Just living life, having fun. I'm great.
Now, when you're listening to this, it's probably August, September of 2024. When we're recording this, the Olympics are going on, and Chris and I were kind of talking about some of the things going on. And today was a big, every day's been a big day, but today was a big day. What did you think about some of the things that happened on the track today?
I think it was good. I mean, I think things that we expected to happen happened. A lot of the kids, young ladies and young men for America got gold medal. We got some got silver that I don't think they expected them way, but they did. And I think it was good. I think Team USA doing real good. I think in my lifetime, me being watching the Olympics since God know when, I think might be one of the best Olympics so far.
I think
so. For us. I think we got a lot of medals. And I think that's a good thing for the United States in the upcoming years, getting ready for 2028. So in LA. So I think it will be great. And I'm looking forward. I'm trying my best to get to 2028. I would love to be there. My last time I went to Olympic was in '96, my sophomore year in college.
Oh, you got to go?
Yeah, I got to go.
Oh, see, everybody's been asking
my last time I went.
Everybody's been asking me if I'm going to go to LA in 28. And, part of me is like, well, there's not a lot of business there. It's not like a business thing for Gill, to be there. I'm like, but however, I did not get to go to 96 in Atlanta. Yeah. And I was like, when is it going to be in America again in my lifetime? Maybe not. So maybe I need to find a way to get to LA. Me and you, we'll hitchhike out. Okay. We'll just,
I'm thinking about doing, my wife, I've been married for a year now and my wife want to go. So I think I'm gonna make that journey and try to go. If I don't have nobody, if I don't be coaching nobody there, I hope I can go and
that's right.
Enjoy the one of my goals to be coaching there.
That's right. You might have you're going to work towards a coaching credential to get there. I got to buy a ticket.
Yeah. If I don't get no coaching, I got to buy a ticket. But that's my goal. My goal is to go to. I went in '96. I got to go to my auntie work in a hospital. St. Jude Hospital in Memphis, Tennessee. Yeah. And her co-workers, they had tickets. And she didn't want to go by herself. So we went to the track. We did track and we did swimming. We just only two we went to. So that was my opportunity to go. We went down there for about 3 days, 4 days.
Yeah.
We didn't stay that long.
What at the track did you get to see? Like, did you see Michael Johnson's 200 or
no?
What
I was there for the 400 meter hurdles.
Yeah.
I watched Calvin Davis.
Yeah.
That's when I went that year. That was not one. I didn't go. We went that day, the final of the 400 meter hurdles.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, we still got a few events left. Was there a certain event that you were really wanting to see, whether it's happened yet or not happened yet in this Olympics?
The men's 400 hurdles and the men's 400 hurdles. That's tomorrow.
Yep.
And I'm looking for the women's 400 meter dash.
Yeah.
The young girl from Jamaica didn't make it in. I was shocked.
Price, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I was very shocked she didn't make it in.
Yeah.
But now we have, I'm looking forward to see what the outcome that would be tomorrow.
Price is a good example. You know, I live my life really now based a lot on George Williams's famous saying of if you're not in the huddle, you don't know the play.
That's
You know,
true.
with
Yeah.
Price, you know, it's like, oh, like she was a shoe-in to make the finals. But you know, I think we're learning when you see all these events that are happening, when you see the difference between third and fourth place, so a medal or not medal, or you see the place, the difference between eighth and ninth place in any event at all, eighth and ninth place. So, you know, making finals or not making finals. It
Yeah.
is, I mean, you make one small mistake in the NCAA, you don't make finals. You
That's true.
blink mistakenly, you don't make the finals in the Olympics. So a kid like, you know, she is a kid for crying out loud, like Price to not make it. It's like, man, I know I had her on my bingo card to make it,
Yeah.
but man, it just wasn't time this
It
year. But
wasn't. Yeah.
I would hate to be her opponent for the next 4 years, though.
Yeah. She's gonna be a good one. Yeah.
So you're
So
looking
I'm
forward
looking
to
for.
400 hurdles tomorrow. Today, just minutes ago, an hour ago, we just saw Sydney set the world record in the 400 hurdles. I'm going to get you on prediction. We won't know if you're right. Well, we'll know if you're right tomorrow, but the world won't know until they listen to this in about a month or so. Do we see a world record tomorrow in the 400 hurdles, and who you got winning?
For the men,
Mm-hmm.
I do. I do. I do see a world record, and I don't see a world record. But I'm going with Rod Benjamin.
Yeah.
I always like Rod Benjamin. I remember when he was at USC, he ran the 200-meter dash at Texas A&M, and I didn't know he could run a 200. And he went out and run 20 point
Right.
in 200 and 400 hurdle. I always said right there he was good. And I know he been having some ups and downs throughout the whole time he left college with injuries and other things. But I'm going with Rod Benjamin. I mean, but I'm going with Rod Benjamin. That's what I'm picking. And I'm not just picking because he's American. I'm picking because I think right now, this year alone, I think he's the most consistent. But I ain't gonna take nothing for that Viking. That Viking tough.
It's crazy. Yeah. And I want to get a little bit better answer than I can see a world record and I cannot see a world record. What are you predicting here? Come on now.
I can see a world
Yeah,
record.
yeah.
I can see a world record.
I agree with you. I'm with you 100% away. I'm riding with Benjamin. I'm riding with the world record. And here's why. You know, and you've seen this, and we're going to get into your journey here in a second, but you've seen this as a coach on your own teams and other teams. You know, there's something like a momentum that occurs. You can't plan it. You wish as a coach you could plan this, but you know, one kid pops off and does something on your team, and that emboldens somebody else in another event. And you know, you've seen it. You've seen this happen. And so I think with what's going on right now with you know, I know Sydney was projected to win and all that. So for her winning, maybe that's not a surprise, but setting a world record's a big deal. Anna Cockrell, I don't know that I don't think she was picked to medal. If it was bronze at best because of Femke, and she gets silver. Tara and Jasmine Moore go 1 and 2 or 1 and 3 in the long jump.
Long jump.
You know, I know the 200 again, you know, there were some surprises with Noah getting sick and everything, but he still gets bronze and Kenny gets silver. So I think Rye and the rest of the Team USA, by the way, Quincy Hall just happened yesterday, and that was a big deal. The distance runners are doing, I mean, holy cow, distance runners. My hat's off to you with what we're doing there from steeple and all in between. I think Rye is, I think there's a momentum for Team USA. I think Rye would have won gold anyway, but I think with everything that's going on, I think he's going to be like, well, crap, if I don't set the world record, I'm letting the whole team down. I think he's going to blow it out. I think he is going to, I think Viking's going to make it a game, but I think Rye wins it, and I think he sets the world record as well. I'm with you.
Yeah,
I'm with you.
I think so too.
All right. Well, that was fun. Let's go to what we're really here for, and that is that's for you, my friend. So
yes, sir.
Let's get in our Wayback Machine here. You know, assuming that you were a track athlete, you might not have been. We've stopped assuming that there is any one kind of path to college, or I shouldn't say to college track and field, to coaching track and field. So we shouldn't necessarily assume. But where does track and field start for you?
Well, track and field started with me back in junior high. I started running in 7th grade. My family in my town, I'm from West Memphis, Arkansas. So a lot of my family ran track. I had a couple uncles and a couple cousins that was very fast, and they were known out throughout the city and the state that it was good because I'm originally from Arkansas. And so I started running track in the 7th grade. and it went from there. I fell in love with track and field. I think when I was running track, Carl Lewis in his heyday, and I fell in love with track and field, and I've been involved in track and field since that day, and I never left. I stopped playing football in 11th grade, and I focused my 12th grade year in track and field to focus on getting me a scholarship to go to college.
I thought I thought about doing that too, and I didn't. I played both, ran track and football senior year though. Why did you? Because that's a tough decision. Because track and football are very intertwined. They should be even more intertwined. Coaches, football coaches specifically out there, but they're very intertwined, very complementary. So it's very natural. It's not like there was like a struggle of like, oh, practice, and there's like no, even the seasons line up. You mentioned to try to get a scholarship. What I don't want to put words in your mouth and say, well, man, you must have loved football. You must have liked football at least. You made it, you played up until through your junior year. What was that decision like? And what did you do? Here's probably the better question. Why did you make the decision? How did you feel about the decision? And then more importantly, now that you had that fall off because you weren't playing football, what did you do for track? Like, what was okay, then I better do extra for track.
Well, my uncle, he's the one who told me, look at what's best for me. He told me that, because my uncle ran track in college. My uncle went to University of Arkansas, Monticello, which is about 45 minutes from us. So he went to college and ran. He didn't finish college. He left because he had a baby in college. He left, joined the Navy. And he the one told me, you need to do what he actually played football in college all the way until he went to college. And he's like, you got to do best for you. And I felt like playing football, I wasn't getting no bigger. Everybody around me was getting big, and I was still a little skinny guy. I'm like, man, I ain't. So it really wasn't hard because I played, I was playing a lot, but I didn't enjoy it like I used to. So I decided to go focus on track because I wanted to run fast in track. At that time, I only ran 49 seconds. I got second in the state meet in Arkansas in the 40-meter dash. And I seen when I was running track, I think Martin Ramsey was one of the best athletes coming out 45 out of high school. So I wanted to lower my time. My goal to run 47 seconds. So I talked to my high school coach, who was also the defense coordinator.
Yeah, okay. I was going to ask because I'm from Alabama, which is basically just East Coast Arkansas here. And all of our coaches, all of our football coaches coached every sport. So all my track coaches were also football. I was wondering if that was the same.
Yeah.
Did he? You said he was defense. What position did you play?
I played defensive back and wide receiver, and sometimes running back.
And the track coach,
he was cool.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. What was his attitude?
He was cool with it because actually my high school track team was one of the best high school track teams in the state of Arkansas throughout the 80s and the 90s. My high school coach named Joe Noonan, and he had a very good successful high school track program throughout the 90s. Well, matter of fact, Coach Noonan will coach all my uncles in football and basketball, football and track. Wow. And so he'd been the football coach. He was a track coach, head track coach since the 70s. So when I got to high school, he already coached half my family. He knew my grandma. My grandmother worked in the cafeteria at the junior high school where he started at before he came to the high school level. So he knew my grandmother a long time before he knew me.
Right.
Okay. And so when I went to Coach Noonan and told him that I don't want to play football anymore, I just want to focus on track, he was cool with it. He just told me I did a lot of running. I just go on runs every day after practice. I still had seven period class. So that's when almost all the athletes had a class. 7 period go football practice, what we're going to do. So I still had 7 period. So what I used to do in the fall, I just go on runs. I just go do some run, do crosses around the field. He gave me a little workout. It wasn't that much. I just started doing stuff, and it wasn't that much. But he also, my high school coach, he went to college, but he went to a small college here in Arkansas. So he did football and he did track. He was a thrower. My high school coach was a thrower, but he was a good sprint coach. So he gave me a workout every day, and I just go out there on the grass, run. And I'd be running there, or I'd go run. They'd be at practice. I'd go run around the field while they had practice. I did stuff like that. So he gave me a workout. He the one told me, actually, he told me it was cool because if you go to college, you gotta have to start training for track in the fall.
Right.
So I didn't know because we didn't start training track until January.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so it was easy. And so he already knew how to do it because he was, he went to college, he did college sports. So he knew, and he just told me, he gave me a little workout. I go run around the track, I run this, I do this, I did this, I did drills, and I did that. And then when football season over, when he got through with football season, all the guys who run track, play football to come run track, we all came to track season. Actually, that year, if I'm not mistaken, we started training like in November. Because we ran a meet when Arkansas they still do it. Then when John McDonald was head coach, right. they have a meet in January, this first week in January for high school. They still do it to today. And we went up there and ran up there. And we trained early so we can go run. And he actually did all that for me because I was one of the oldest guys on the team. So he did it for me so I could get good looks to go to college. So that's how I did it.
I love that attitude from and it makes maybe more sense than you initially think because he was the track coach and football coach, not just he wasn't a football coach who also coached track. Sounds like he was very much a track and football coach.
He actually loved track, but he loved football.
A lot of football coaches, even if you're not a star player, they still want bodies. They still need and want bodies, right? So there's a little bit of like that. Hey, Chris, maybe you should stay. So I like that. Coach had your intent, your at heart. Your future at heart. What about your peers? I'm always wondering. We talk about 16, 17, 18-year-old kids now. What did your peers who were like, oh, you quit in football to do track? Were they cool with it, or was there a little?
Actually, I had three of my friends, or when in high school, they was better than track and football. So they never. I had one guy named he actually coached his son here at Arkansas Pine about 4 or 5 years ago. He didn't never do football at all. He ran 10-6 in 100. Yeah. He never do football. So it wasn't like no one cared really. I can say that because all the guys who did they want to play football the most. Yeah. And me and the other guy named Agent Guy, we was more into track. Yeah. And so it wasn't no problem.
And you had a good track program too, though. So I'm just kind of playing it out through mine. Like if I would have actually stopped playing my senior year, I feel like a lot of my friends and peer group in the football would have made fun of me because we weren't very good at track. So I think they'd have been like, really, dude, like we aren't even that good. Yeah. What are you doing? Like we're better in football. But if you have a tradition of like being good at track, though, it's like, oh, okay, he's just picking he's going to go be successful there instead of here, So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Go. My high school, my sophomore year in high school was the first time Arkansas started doing indoor state meets, and we won the first 3.
Oh wow! Holy cow!
Yeah, and then they kept it. They bring them something, and they didn't start it. I think they stopped it like a couple years. I got out of high school to start doing indoor state meet, and they brought it back when Arkansas built the indoor facility up in Fayetteville. They when they run it back, they run a state meet now at Fayetteville. But we used to go. I don't know if you remember Arkansas State had that rubber track around
the flat. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I remember when they first started Arkansas State meet in indoor. That we used to have a state meet.
Yeah. Oh wow.
There's
a battle between some of the roughest indoor facilities of Arkansas State's indoors and Florida's old one in the McConnell.
They built the same way. Only different. Arkansas State had rubber, and Florida had a real track. And
they were still basically circles, though. No tracks. It was a circle.
They were circle. They were corner like this. But I tell people though, and I tell people, these young cats we got now, they got all these brands. We got all these facilities. I said, back in the day, Arkansas State, Southern Illinois was a place to be everybody went to.
That's right, Southern Illinois. Do you remember
George Mason?
Remember Clemson's indoor? Again, you couldn't even see.
Like this. Yep. And I tell people, I said, you guys, y'all lucky because when I was running track, I remember when I was in high school, when I went to JUCO in Kansas City, JUCO, we just go to Pittsburgh State.
Yeah.
And they were on that 150-meter track. I'm like, and then they got a 300-meter track now.
I've told the story before when I coached JUCO in Kansas. We went to Pitt State one time. It was when I first got there, so I had no clue. I went over there, and I don't know if it was 100. It might have been 140. Man, it was a small
I think
track.
it was small.
And I remember going, I will never come back here again. I was like, I can't. Like maybe I'll come here to run 60s, but I can't run 2s and 4s and even the 8s and stuff. I was like, this is crazy. And now you go there, and they've got, it really is when we're about the same age. When you take a step back and think about what we had it as, athletes and coaches early in our career to what we have today, it's hard to complain about the places we have today because, boy, they are light years ahead of what we had back in the late 90s, early 2000s, man. Holy cow.
Yeah, that's what I tell people.
Okay.
I tell my kids all the time, y'all don't know what I ran on.
Yeah.
And we ran, and the thing I try to tell people, we actually ran fast.
Right. Exactly.
People thought, when you run a 49.50 point on a 150 track and do the conversion, that's fast.
Fast and painful.
And hurt. But we didn't know no better then. Like they know now. We didn't know no better then. We thought that was the norm though.
Yeah. Funny. All right. So senior year, you stopped playing football because you wanted to run faster to earn a scholarship. How'd that go? Where did you end up going to school? Tell us about that process. And what were you thinking as you were, finishing up senior year, looking at college? What were you thinking career-wise? Was coaching at all in the brain at this point, or was it to go be a doctor or a business owner? What were you thinking?
Well, it went well. I got a lot of look from a lot of small schools around the area, like Murray State, one of the school called me, Louisiana Lafayette. I remember Arkansas State one, even Coach. I don't want to call it the wrong name, but Coach Civic was at Arkansas.
Yeah,
then.
Steve. Mm-hmm.
Steve came and seen me. He came to my house, and he came to my house. Matter of fact, the 92, it was going the 92 USA, not 92. It was the NCAA championship was in Tennessee. And he stopped by my house, driving to go to the championship. He stopped by my house and talked to me in my living room. And Arkansas was on my radar, but I ended up, I went to JUCO route because I was like, ACT wasn't good enough. So I ended up going to Kansas City Community College up there with Al Hobson.
I didn't know you were KCK.
I went to KCK.
So what year did you graduate high school?
95.
Okay, I graduated 94. Okay, wow, yeah. I did not know. Yeah. And you got coached by Hop.
I got by Al Hobson. I with Maurice Green, trained with Maurice Green, everybody.
So I love Hop. I coached JUCO. So he was in Kansas City area at the KCK. I was down in the southeast Kansas, Neosho County Community College. And I got to know a lot of people that ran for Hop. Dexter and all these guys, and, Ray and them. And Hop is just, I don't know. I don't know that a lot of people know him, unfortunately, because he got some pub with Maurice Green, obviously, but he has produced a lot.
Of guys.
And he's a good dude. What was that like running for him?
It was good. Hobbs was good. I was good. First off, when I went to KCK, I had another coach, Coach Todd Biggs, but he left, and Hop took over the program. Hop was just a spring coach, and Hop. Coach Biggs left and went to Pittsburgh State to be coach at Pittsburgh with Coach Gill. And Coach Hobson took over, and I ran with Coach Hobson, or we were training him. And that's when Hop took over that year, Maurice Green just left with LA to train with John Smith. So I trained with Maurice the whole fall. I think December, after Christmas, he left and went to LA. And I just tell people, Maurice, we're going to run fast. Because I trained a guy, I'm like, just do fast. Yeah. And I had some more guys on the team I trained with, went on Keith Black, who ran for K-State. I trained with Keith Black. His son now going to play football for K-State, not K-State. His son going to play football for University of Texas.
Wow.
So yeah, I learned a lot from Coach Hobson. So you asked me about when I want to be a tracker. I actually want to be a tracker. I actually want to coach since I left high school. My high school coach was the one that inspired me to coach.
Why?
Coach Nolan was a good guy. He was a guy like you said. Even though he was a football guy, that's why I tell. He really knew track. He used to go to clinics, learn from everybody, learn from people, come doing his high school program. I mean, he was a track guy. Actually, Coach Nono, this is how old he is, and he actually ran. Well, he was in high school at the same time. Clyde Hart was in high school in Arkansas. You know, Clyde Hart from Hot Spring, Arkansas. They was in high school together. You know, so Coach Nono was a good guy. You know, he was a guy, and I look up to him. And all my, like I said, he knew my whole family. You know, before I met Coach Nono, he knew me before I met him.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? And he knew my whole family, my grandmama, my granddaddy. Like I say, my uncles ran track for him. And my cousin ran track for him. So he knew my whole family. And he inspired me. But actually, I wanted to coach, but I want to do business. I actually want to be real estate because my grandmama and my grandfather own a lot of real estate property in my hometown. And my uncle, one of my uncles, one of my older uncles, he's like my oldest uncle, my grandma's oldest son, Uncle Sonny, he was real estate. I used to go to work with him. He was doing real estate in West Memphis. And I used to go to work with him. And that's how I want to do real estate. But when I went to college, I'm taking them classes. I like, this ain't for me.
Yeah. I hear you.
I like, my brain compass. And so I left business alone. And I said, you know what? I want to coach. So I'm gonna go do physical education. And that's what I did. I went and got in physical education round. And because I want to be a coach. So I started doing that. And did my 2 years at KCK. I left there and I ended up at St. All with Coach Williams.
Oh, did you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, I ended up at St. All with Coach Williams. He recruited me at KCK.
I love, now hearing about your high school coach, Hop, and now Coach Williams, you were destined to be a coach, my man. I mean, holy cow, that's that's the three-headed monster if you will, of like, you're going to do this, man. I love that you kind of caught on early in the high school side about coaching. It's always interesting to me. We hear this story a lot when we're interviewing coaches around the country that they go through high school and college, thinking I'm going to go become an accountant or whatever. And then like, there's like this aha moment, usually sometime around like their senior year of college, where it's like, oh, wait a minute, I could be a track coach. Like, you have these people in front of you all day, your whole life, your high school track coach, your college track coach, and you never actually like, oh, wait a minute, that's actually like that person's getting paid for that. Like that means I could go on. So I like that you kind of had from your high school coach of like, oh man, like I like this guy. I like how he makes me feel, like how, like what he does with me for, training and things like that. I want to be that. Like, that's really cool. I love that you found that early and then go get coached by a Hop and a Coach Williams for crying out loud. Yeah. Holy cow.
Yeah. So
so tell me, I mean, we've had George on the podcast. I also had Coach Hart. You mentioned Clyde earlier as well. He gave us some great stories about, setting school records and trying out for LSU's track team. It was amazing. He's a great one. If you're listening, go back and check out Coach Hart's podcast, as well as George Williams. I tell you what, George is one of those, he's an icon. There's no other way to really say it, man. I've said this many times and I'll say it again every time I get the chance. I got to interview Brooks Johnson early in the podcast. I think he's like episode 50. So, I mean, this is, season 1 type stuff. And he taught me about, if you're not in the huddle, you don't know the play from Coach Williams. And then I literally was like, oh, I need to go get Coach Williams then too. So he's the originator of that. I need to go get him. And so I got him on the show about a year or 2 years ago. And to hear how, he's a basketball guy, how he got into coaching, how he got into coaching track, and then his whole mantra, if you will, of if you're not in the huddle, you're not in the play. It changed me. Listening to Brooks and listening to George tell this non-judgment, because that's what it is. It's about not judging people. It changed me, not as a coach. I don't coach anymore. It changed me as a person, as a businessman, as a parent. It really, really changed me. So I don't get to talk to very many proteges of a Coach Williams. What was it like? Like, could you grasp who Coach Williams was as an athlete? Today we can. We're 40-year-old. We know, we bow down Coach Williams, right? Were you able to grasp what you had in front of you as a coach, or was it just, yeah, man, I was just trying to survive 400-meter workouts?
I did. The thing is with that, when I went to St. All, my first year at St. All, Coach Williams was not our coach. And I say this, he had the basketball coach just died. He had a heart attack. And Coach Williams was the AD, so he needed a basketball coach.
And he's
and
a
so the
basketball
president
coach.
of the school,
He's a basketball guy
yeah,
originally.
so
Yeah.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
So the president of the school told him, "Well, you go coach basketball." He's like, "What?" And that's how Coach went. So I bring some more people. So Antonio Pettigrew was on the coach staff. Coach Pettigrew, Antonio Pettigrew, actually coached us our first year.
Wow.
Coach Williams, we didn't see Coach Williams because he went back. We see Coach Williams every blue moon. He come to prep every now and then, but we didn't see Coach Williams during the fall training. We were with Pettigrew and some more. We had some more coaches out there, Coach Chapman and Coach Freeman. We had them out there, and them the guys who really coached us. I was on the team with Jerome Young and Dewesky Odom.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Dewesky Odom. Wow.
He was on my team.
What a name.
I just seen him last week. Yeah, he was on my team. So he was. I was in North Carolina.
Is he still he was the high school 60-meter? Yeah, he was the high school 60-meter hurdle record. Is he still hold that record? I think he does.
I think so. I think he do.
I think he does. Yeah, I remember that name. Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, in the 55.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, so I did. When Coach Williams actually really came back out to the track after basketball season on with, I did. I already knew who he was because when I got there, I mean, he was on the Olympic staff team in '86 and stuff like that. And I think the next year when I got to St. Paul, he became in '99. He was the head coach for the World Championship team. Mm-hmm. So I did grasp who I was with when I got there. I knew the history of St. Paul, so I did, and I learned a lot from Coach Williams. Like you said, the saying he always said, "If you're not in the huddle, you don't know the play," and that's something he always told me. So when I started, after I got through running at St. Paul, I had one more year of school left, and he paid for my year. And I said, "Well," and I told him, I said, "Well, I want to coach." He said, "You do?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Well, come on out there every day and set them hurdles up for me." That we told me to do. Yeah. So every day I had to come out there, set the hurdles up, set the workout up, set stuff up, put cones out, put this out. I did all the good work before he got to practice. I mean, I was out there before the team was out there setting stuff up, getting everything ready, and I went from there. And he told me that one of the things Coach always told me when I first started coaching, he said, "You got to be loyalty to people you work for."
Boy, and so he lived that. He lived that.
Yeah, and I always pride myself as today to be loyal to who I work for. I'm very loyal to in UAPB. I'm very loyal to everybody I deal with. Agreed. And so that's something that I learned from him, and I also learned. He the one told me about USA track and field coaching education stuff, and he always said that you go learn. Don't mean you know how to apply. You gotta learn how to apply it too. And so he said, you can read all the books. He always said, you can read all the books you want to read, but you gotta know how to apply the books. If you don't know how to apply, it don't mean nothing. And he's right. And I see a lot of people, they can tell you 100 different workouts, but they can't apply it.
Right.
So I learned a lot from Coach Williams, and I also learned how to build a team and build a championship team through Coach Williams.
Yeah.
And, that's something that I learned because we won a lot. When I was saying, we won 3 championships in indoors and outdoor track and field, NCAA Division II, and we won. I think we won every year. I think we won every year in cross country, indoor, and outdoors on the men's side at CIAA championship, conference championship. I don't think we lost. I don't think we never lost. And then my first year as assistant coach with Coach Williams, we won the women's championship in Division II.
Wow.
That was my first year with him. But I learned a lot. And actually, I was a quarter miler. He didn't let me work with the quarter milers. He made me go work with the jumpers.
Oh.
He told me, you know how to run around the track, go ahead and talk to them jumpers. I'm like, coach, the jumpers? I don't know about no jumpers. But he said, he told me this. He said, what you don't know, they're going to teach you. And he right. And they taught. I learned a lot. We had a couple guys, I'm 25. Tim Rousson. Tim Rousson was on the team when I was there. Tim Rousson was a 57-foot triple jumper. And Tim Rousson, some old guy, a guy by the name Maurice English, who was a 24-foot long jump. Had a guy, my old roommate, named he from Jamaica, Lance Lance Gooding was a 24 long jumper and a 53-foot triple jumper. You know, we had all these guys on the team. Here we had a couple girls, a couple women's athletes was jumping 20 feet and 41, 42 feet. So he told me, what you don't know, they're going to teach you. And he was right. I learned a lot. And then from there, I got a quiz to be a jump coach. So I started studying the jumps. And it led from there. And then I worked there with Coach Williams for 2 years. I left, went back home to West Memphis because my mom wanted me to come home. I don't know why she wanted me to come home, but she did. So I came back and went back to West Memphis. I stayed in West Memphis for 6 months and I left. And I went to Murray State to be a grad assistant.
Oh, wow. You know, it's amazing. You know, there is some formal education of how to coach. And when I say how to coach, the actual X's and O's. So you talked about USATF, you know, level 1s and level 2s. But there's no real, I'm not sure our GAs positions are even set up like this, but there's no real like, hey, here's how to coach. Like, because, you know, coaching is more than just on the track and, you know, running a workout. You got like this internship. Like we don't have internships really in coaching for track and field anyway. You got this like really immersive internship with Coach Williams on how to coach, because you got to see not only, you know, what he was thinking about as far as workouts, but maybe did you even get to see like, you know, all the, I mean, he was AD as well, but did you get to see like the other stuff? Like, you know, he's working on scheduling and budgeting and, you know,
I got to say all that. I got to say all that because I was always in his office. That after the year after I graduated, I always go to his office. I was part-time. He paid me part-time. He didn't pay me that much money. But I was part-time. I also worked in the grocery store too. So I was in the office before he got there. Because we didn't get off by 9 o'clock. Oh, that's on some days. Some days you get to 12 o'clock because he played golf. So, and so when he had played golf, from 9 to 12, I gotta do stuff. I gotta run around, get paper signed for him, and do this stuff. When he come at 12 o'clock, I had all that stuff done for him. So I got to see how to do paperwork, how to do budgeting. I seen the numbers. I seen paper say $1 million. I seen paper say $2 million. You know, I see all these things. So yes, I got opportunities to see things, in coaching, and I got to see how an institution run, how do they run, how most institutions run off of beds, people in the beds. You know what I'm saying? So I got to see all that and how we get funded for our programs and stuff.
Most of our young people that, you know, say they want to be a coach, it's because they love the being in the sand pit with the kids and at the block work and stuff like that. And then they you know, stumble into learning that, oh yeah, that's, you know, this much of the actual job. There's a lot of paperwork, recruiting, budgeting, staff management, etc. You got to see that fairly early, and it didn't scare you off.
No, it didn't. I like to work. I don't mind working, and I like learning new stuff. If I got an opportunity to learn, I did what I had to do to learn. You know, it didn't faze me nothing to learn. So because I want to be a coach and I want to coach on a college level. So when I went back home to West Memphis and then I went to Murray State and did a grad year at Murray State for a year, I went back to Raleigh and I worked at a high school for a year. And then I got that's when and then after that I got my opportunity to be a first. Then I got my opportunity to go coach at Bethune-Cookman. Down in Daytona Beach, Florida, with one of my friend Godfrey Ellenwoods. And that's how I got that's my first paying job, coaching. Because the other time I was just volunteer coaching, and I was getting paid a little bit of money.
I think that's where we first met too, was at BC. Yeah. So what's that like? You know, it amazes me, you know, this period here after working part-time with Coach Williams. You know, there's some months back home. There's a year of grad work. There's some high school work. Like it's a very unstable time. You don't have a job, you know. And then you get a job. You get the assistant job at Bethune-Cookman. How and why do you keep motivated to the goal? The goal was to coach collegiate track and field. You know, there's a lot of opportunities for you to quit. You know, you're a smart guy with a great college degree. There are other jobs you could go do. How do you and why do you keep motivated?
I applied for, before I answer that question, I applied for a lot of jobs. I actually got a lot of interviews because of Coach Williams. But a lot of people turned me down for all reasons. And And did I agree with some of the reasons? No. A lot of the reason was one of the biggest reasons was recruit. A lot of people, they didn't think I could recruit in the area. I got opportunity. I got interviews up in New Jersey. At the time, I didn't care where I went, even all over this, everywhere. But a lot of the people that I interviewed with, and I think they didn't think I can recruit. That's what the biggest thing was.
Why is that? That bugs me.
I don't know. I don't know.
For you, maybe I'll put a pin in it for a second, but I hear that a lot of why. That's like, to me, what I hear, the number one reason why college coaches don't hire high school coaches. It's like, well, sure, they can coach, and maybe their time management's good because they're a teacher and all that kind of stuff, but they haven't recruited. And I'll tell you what, and maybe it certainly opened my eyes hosting this podcast. Every high school coach that I've interviewed here, I tell you what, a major part of their track coaching is recruiting those friggin' hallways. They've got, 4-minute milers walking around. They realize that, and they got to go get them and convince them to run on the track team and not go do baseball or football or the billion other things that they can do. Go, kids can stay home and play video games, right? It's what me and you did back in the day. They still do that. They can recruit. But what I don't understand, and my coaching career, we knew each other a little bit when I was coaching. I was a known recruiter, but I wouldn't tell you that what I did had some kind of mysticism to it. Like, what is this like mysticism that we put over recruiting? What, they liked you enough, you recruited them enough to get an interview. Why would they then say, oh, but we're not sure you can go do that with 18-year-olds? Give me a break.
Yeah. I don't know. I know every job I applied for, that was a main reason. Yeah. And then when I got the GA job, and that's when I went GA route. I said, let me go give me a grad assistant and see how that worked. But it didn't work out for me. And like I said, I kept on grinding. And I just knew I wanted to coach. I ain't had no kids. I ain't had no wife. I was just like, I was living, and I said, what, I'm going to get there one day. And when Garfield got the job at Bethune-Cookman, he hired me. I came in, I coached, and
Did you know him beforehand?
Yes, I met Garfield. I don't want to tell all the stories, but Garfield down in North Carolina training.
Right.
And and he started coming. Then somehow he came on and started training with Coach Williams.
Right.
And that's how I met Garfield, because he came training with Coach Williams. Because Coach Williams would train Jerome.
So there was some familiarity there, because I was wondering, like, well, why didn't he think you couldn't recruit? Didn't have the experience. So I still don't understand that, but okay.
Well, I'll tell you that story about that too. I did have some trouble recruiting my first years coaching.
How so?
I did. When I first started at Bethune-Cookman, I wasn't scared of recruiting, but everybody looked for a name and who got the name, who doing what you. I think everybody look at what have you done. So there was that first 2 years of me at Bethune-Cookman, recruiting was hard for me. I ain't gonna lie to you. That third year, it came around because I started looking for kids where no one is looking. So instead of going to a high school like Miami Northwestern, I went to a high school where no one thinking about this high school, but it's a kid from Florida, and I was in Florida, so it's a kid from Florida at a 3A school out of no man land. I look for kids like that. So I started finding kids at schools where no one's going to, from maybe it could be a 2A school or a 3A school. You know what I'm saying? And so when I started finding them kids, I got them to come in and they started doing good. And also junior college. That's why, one day it clicked on me. You're not going to junior college. And so that's when I started going to the junior college.
That's funny, coming from a JUCO guy, by the way. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you didn't even think about that. You ran through the division, so you know it. Yeah.
So I started going. That's when I started, and that's when it started clicking for me. When I started going to JUCO kids.
I'm fascinated with recruiting. Again, it was my number one thing. I just enjoyed it. And, obviously, if you think about what recruiting is, it's relationship building. And so, you know, what I do here through Gill, it's, I'm just recruiting. I'm just recruiting I'm not recruiting 18-year-olds, anymore. But like, I want to go back to where you said you struggled when you first started recruiting. Was it because you mentioned like a Northwestern and stuff. Was it because you were like, oh, okay, well, I got to go after the best kids, and you're hearing no a lot because, for many reasons.
I was hearing no from the worst kids. It wasn't just the best kid. Cause I was like, when I was coaching the jumpers, I had a certain number that feet I was looking for. Lays I was looking for 18-1, 18-2, maybe triple jump 38, 39. I just looking for someone I can develop. But I like I say, what you just said about relationship, a lot of it had to do with relationship.
Yeah.
Even kids that went to schools at a big name school like Northwestern, young lady, young man might want that good. I still have a hard time getting them. Like, well, they ain't that good. I don't want the best one. I just want the best one. You know what I'm saying? So it was a hard for me until I said, a light bulb came in my own head and said, go get a junior college athlete. And I did. And I went to JUCO, and I told them in Florida, I was in Daytona Beach. I signed at Bethune-Cookman, I signed 4 girls and 4 guys in 1 month when I told them I live in Florida.
Yeah.
And these kids came from some from Jamaica, some from all around the world. I had one of the jobs I coached at Bethune before I left Bethune was from New Jersey. He didn't want to go nowhere cold. He was a 24-foot long jump. He didn't want to go nowhere cold. I signed him. Right. So, and then, like you say, the relationship came when I left Bethune. I was at Bethune 3 years. After my 3rd year, I left Bethune. I went to Hampton University. Right. And recruiting got easy. It got very easy when I got Bethune-Cookman. I got to Hampton University.
Why is that?
It got so easy. Hampton had a name.
I was going to say a name and a tradition.
Yeah, tradition.
But not Daytona Beach. I would have thought Daytona Beach would have been a big draw.
Yeah. And I think when I was at Bethune-Cookman with Garfield, we made it a name. It wasn't a name until we got there. And we made it a name. We had Running Ash, and we had all these guys come through and do
right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
We had Running Ash, and I think that year we went to NCAA championship, and we got 14th with 2 people.
Ronnie was a big dude. I remember him. Yeah.
I signed Ronnie.
Is that right?
I signed Ronnie.
Was he a high school or JUCO kid?
No, high school.
Yeah. Okay.
Ronnie. Okay, you talk about relationship.
Yeah.
So one of my college friends was running high school track coach. That's how we knew who Ronnie was. That's how we got Ronnie.
So
and Ronnie went with a 14. He was a 14-second hurdle.
Okay, I was gonna say, what did he run? Yeah.
14, but he was big, and Garfield liked him because he was big. He was tall. He ran 14. And actually, he was just a newbie. He just started running track. That was his 2nd year running track. And he was a high jumper before he started running hurdles. And then my friend, who was the coach, told him go put him over hurdles. He called me and Garfield up and said, "Hey, I got this kid for y'all." And that's how we got Running Ash. Actually, we got his whole team that year. We got his whole high school team. We got like 4 of the boys from his high school team. That was good. Like, we had one of the boys one of the spring went 10. One boy went 10-5. They from North Carolina. They from Knightdale, North Carolina. Wow. One boy went 10-5. One boy went 47-1 in 400-meter dash. Running went to the hurdles, and another jumper. We had a jumper too. We had 4 boys we got for one high school.
So they're from North Carolina.
They from North Carolina.
Okay, let's stay on this recruiting thing. We'll get to Hampton and Pine. I'm fascinated with this. I'm really, having a lot of conversations on Twitter with this stuff, especially today, like, last week or whatever, basically the new rules or whatever you want to call them, the new environment, the new world for all sports, but we're talking track and field here, for Division I came down. This whole 45 roster limits and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of I'm going to say Chicken Little. I'm not calling anybody a name, but the sky is falling. This is going to destroy track and field, those kind of things. And we'll put aside the destroying track and field because of financials. We'll put that to the side. Let's just talk about recruiting. I hear a lot of the rich are going to get richer and things like that. Where I was kind of going with this, you mentioned Ronnie and his team. They were 4 really good kids. They're in North Carolina. North Carolina is one of those really unique states to me. It's a lot like Kansas to me. And what I mean by that is there are a bazillion track programs in that state. I mean, there is every East Carolina, UNC Asheville, UNC Wilmington, of course, NC State, St. I mean, there are so many opportunities for those kids to have stayed in state. And most kids, I think, stay, in state-ish. I think if you were to look at actual recruiting, I think most kids stay within, call it 100 miles from their high school. Most, not everyone, obviously. but those kids came down to Bethune-Cookman. They had other choices. You talked about a relationship with the coach. You have plenty of relationship with coaches that kids aren't going to your schools, not because of you, because of, again, we're talking about 18-year-olds. What the heck do they know what they want to do? It's just amazing to me. I don't think it's secret sauce. I guess what I'm really getting at here, Chris, is I think the kids that sign with you, and anybody, by the way, Mouse, the coach at Texas A&M, Kingsville, I'm talking about all the Hops, all of it.
Yeah.
I think kids sign. There's a lot of reasons, the school major, things like that, scholarship amounts, but I think it's because they find some kind of relationship with the coach.
Yeah.
And there's a million reasons why that relationship happens. It could be, my high school coach. Wow, he must be pretty cool. If I really like my high school coach, this guy ran with him, he must be pretty cool. It could be, wow, he went to school in North Carolina and now he's in Florida. Well, maybe that means I can go to school in Florida. There's all these just reasons that you would never be able to even cook up. Like, it's just amazing.
Yeah, that's true.
And you got Ronnie, because he had to have had, he certainly had other options.
Well, he didn't. A lot of people didn't look at. He was just running 14 seconds though, in the hurdles.
There are 100 schools in North Carolina that will take that right now.
I know, but they didn't really, because I guess. Well, you talk about Mount Scholarship, give him full ride. That's why he came.
That's part of it.
No one didn't offer him a full ride, and we gave all of them a full ride.
Yeah.
And that's why I think so. His parents he going to school free.
But there are
I think that was sold him.
But there are plenty of coaches right now that have the story of, I offered the kid a full and they took 25% at this school or 50 at whatever. So it's not. So what I'm trying to say there, Chris, is while that may have been a big part or a part for him and those kids, it's not always the number one. It's not always the highest bidder that wins.
Yeah, that's true. I believe that too. Like you said, I believe that too. Sometimes I have kids. I can hear in Arkansas, I have kids that I try to recruit, and they will go to Razorback for $10. Mm-hmm. Like, you gonna pay out your pocket? I'm gonna give you more money. They gonna give you. Mm-hmm. But you're right, and I think that relationship with Ronnie and all them came. It was like, I think Garfield did a good job of recruiting them, and they built that relationship, and they came, and I think that was a good thing. Because Garfield did a good job recruiting them. I went to see Ronnie run at the high school national before he signed, and I called Garfield back on the phone. I said, "Hey, yo, he's the one." I told Garfield Ronnie gonna be the one. He's like, "You for real?" I said, "I'm telling you, I've been around a lot of 110 hurdles. This kid got a lot more potential than people think, and he did everything I told Garfield he was gonna do as a freshman. He got third place as a freshman."
Is that right? Oh, wow.
Yes, he got third place. He won the next. He got third his freshman year in the 110 hurdles. His sophomore year, he won the 110 hurdle at Arkansas.
So let's talk about he stayed all 4 years, right?
No, I left Bethune, went to Hampton.
Yeah.
Bethune-Cookman fired Garfield, and Ronnie left and went to Oklahoma.
Okay.
He ran with Kane. He went to Oklahoma with Kane.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I can't ask the question I want to ask there. Okay. Let's stay at Bethune-Cookman for a little bit. Because the transfer portal is part of my recruiting. Like, I just so curious about things.
We had it then.
But okay. See, now you're gonna make me ask questions. So I know we didn't have transfer portal back then, but kids certainly still transferred. While it may be easier today, and you're in it, so you tell me where I'm wrong. I'm not in it anymore, so I'm what I hear and have conversations with. It's easier for a kid to get on to be transfer eligible, meaning they used to have to come talk to you, the coach, and that's an uncomfortable conversation for an 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old. I get that. Now they don't even have to talk to you. They just go to the compliance director and say, "Hey, man, put me on the list." And you find out the next day when you check the transfer report, you're like, "What where'd that come from?" Right?
No, you see an email in about 30 minutes. You're like, "Okay."
Oh, you get email. Oh, okay.
It's an email. Well, you can't see the schools. If Arkansas Pine put your transfer report, the coaches of Arkansas Pine cannot see you in the transfer report. Only people who see the people in the transfer report is the other schools. So
is that right?
If I put one of my kids get in the transfer report, I don't know they're in the transfer report until I get an email that they're in the transfer report. So you can't see your own kids. Only people see your kids other schools.
I had this idea, like, I assume every coach, as soon as they come in the office, that's their first, for me, this is how I would do it. the first thing I would open up every morning on my computer would be the transfer reports. Like, all right, well, let's see who's new. And so I had this vision of like Monday morning, you walk in and you're like, Johnny, what the hell? We just had a meet Saturday, dude. So,
but
how quickly do you get an email? Like they go to the compliance
when
director.
When the compliance person submitted to the portal.
Oh, okay. So
the email will come to the coach.
So you're checking your email. You're like, did Mike get me that quote? Johnny, what the?
But my email come to my phone. So once it pop in, once they put it in the system, I see it on my phone.
That's what I'm saying. You're like, that's why I had your phone. I was like, you're looking and you're like, oh, what the hell, man? Yeah. Oh,
but I have had some kids as a man. I tell my kids this: if you gonna get a transfer portal, be a man, be a woman, come in my office and say, Coach, I want to transfer. I can't do nothing about it. So just be, if you do that, I respect you more, and I help you go somewhere. I had a girl this year. She want to leave. I help her go somewhere else.
And I, as another adult, know that about you. Like if one of your kids came up to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about transferring, but I'm really concerned about talking to Coach McCoy. Because I know you and I'm an adult, I would easily be able to say, oh, well, then just tell him. Like, I know it's I know it's nervous. You're talking to an adult, you're talking to a coach. I get that, but trust me, it'll be better if you just tell him. Like, if you just go on your own, you're going to be on your own. If you go tell him, like, I'd be shocked if he didn't try to help you. I get that. Now, put yourself in the shoes of an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid. Don't forget, they are still kids. And it's like, man, coach is going to flip his lid on me. We are, in general, in society, not just track, we are conflict avoiders.
Yeah.
And a 19-year-old coming and telling you, even if it's like the most legit reason in the world, hey, coach, my mom's sick, so I want to transfer, not because of you, the program, anything. I need to be closer to home. That's a pretty legit, like, that's hard for any, like, what coach, well, you got to be a pretty harsh person, I think, to find fault in a kid for that, right?
Yeah, you're right.
That's still nerve-wracking. It's a conflict to come tell you, hey, I know you believe in me. Like, here's the thing. I think it's really stems from, you have done your job, meaning that kid has seen you believe in me. You've poured into me. You've done this. You gotten me these shoes. You've taken me these meets. You've sat down and listened to me and heard me in my lowest place. And now I got to go tell you that I'm leaving you. That's hard. Yeah. That's hard. Yeah. So I'm a pro transfer portal. I know it's got a lot of hate right there from everybody listening. Because I think just like you could and should leave to go to another institution if it's right for you, for whatever reason, location, hopefully money, things like that. I think the kids should as well.
Well, I in the beginning of the transfer portal system, I didn't like it because it hit me hard.
Sure.
The year I think I had one of the best teams on the women's side here at UAPB when the transfer first started coming out. And what made I wasn't mad about kids leaving my school. I'm upset about how can they go to the same conference.
Oh, sure.
That's what hurt me.
Yeah.
And I had 4 young ladies left me for UAPB and went to another school in the conference, and they won. And we was the year before they left, we was 30 points from winning a championship. And I'm like, yo, I'm bringing some old girls in and try to get to 30 points to win a championship. But these 4 young ladies left and went to another school in the conference.
Yeah.
And won. And they didn't leave because they didn't like me. They didn't leave because they left because of other reasons. And so I can say I didn't like it in the beginning, but now I have found a way that say that's the norm. And
there's a lot of nuances. Like that's a nuance. Like when you just described that, I actually was like, oh, I haven't thought about that. Because here's what we hear most of the time from a coach in your position here at Arkansas Pine Bluff. It's like, man, I went out and developed this kid. Let's use a women's long jumper. I went out and signed this 17-foot long jumper. And, by sophomore year, I got her at 20.5 or 21 foot. This is something you've done your whole career. And now that she's jumped 20.5, 21 foot, now I won't name names of schools, but enter big name university XYZ. Now they want her, and now she gets to go there. And so what I hear, first of all, I get that, but I also, get when coaches say, hey, I do it for the kids. And it's like, well, man, you did it for the kid. Like, she get to go on to a, air quotes here, bigger university. Great job. Yeah. I know it sucks. I know it sucks. I get it. Here's where I hear from coaches. It's like, oh, less opportunities for high school. This is where I still don't understand this at all. In that situation, high school coaches and college coaches will say, well, there's less opportunities for high school kids. Like they're going, these quote unquote big name schools are going transfer portal first. And I'm like, I don't believe that, because that kid that just left your school, this mythical 21-foot long jumper that just left your school, opened up a scholarship. And I think that's a huge thing for a kid to come to your school and get developed.
Yeah.
Like I don't think.
And that's the way I started thinking about it, because I look at like, I'm already developing people. And I actually, I don't, to be honest with you, I don't look at transfer portal. I don't look at transfer portal. My assistant coaches, they do. And I got a rule. They came up with this rule that if you do take a 4-year transfer kid, you have to keep them.
Oh,
you can't get rid of them no more. You can't get rid of nobody no more.
Right.
Anybody transfer for any type of 4-year school, NIA, D2, D1, D3, you have to keep them. Only way they leave on their own. So you want to keep them on the team.
Now, what's crazy, I'm very pro coach, obviously, but I am pro athlete in this kind of sense. I actually don't like that.
I don't either.
If they want, and they deserve, when I say they, meaning athletes, all these kind of new rules that are coming down the line as far as revenue sharing and transferring and, moving to a roster cap of 45, but you can give up to 45 full rides. I love that. I'm all very pro that, but that also means, in my opinion, you as the head coach, you should have full autonomy over your roster. So and I would be as much as I am pro, transfer portal, I'm pro, I'll call it firing, meaning you get to set your roster. I don't care. I don't care what the reason. If you want to get rid of XYZ person, whether it's because they're not performing academically or athletically or personality, like they're just, we've heard of the, bad apple, rotten, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Hey, if I get rid of this person, our team will be better because of the cancer that this person is. I think you should be able to do it, but you're not. So it's
you
really
can't do
weird.
That. So
that's handcuffed you on this. Yeah, I don't like that.
That's why I don't really care about transfer portal. So so back to the high school, I really get a high school kid. This matter of fact, this is gonna be one of my big testimony this year coming up, because I'm graduating 14 people this year on my team.
Wow.
I'm graduating 14 people.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be, and it's some key 14 people. So it's going to be a big testimony for me. And my mindset, I'm trying to bring in as many high school kids I can bring in JUCO. I don't really want no transfer kid. But you know what? My email be ringing with kids coming from other schools. And I got to tell someone, I had a couple kids leave me, and I said, and I told one of them, they leave, but they say you go anywhere, as long as you're eligible, you can go somewhere. You might have never graduated from college.
Right. Right.
And I think the transfer portal, like I said, I'm cool with like I said, I was against it, but now I'm cool with it. But I think
but I'm also I'm not seeing that either. I when this was going down, I also feared the kid who's transferring a lot. And it's like, well, because, at the end of the day, you got to get a college degree. This is what you're really in school for. But I haven't seen, and now I haven't looked either, but I'm assuming that if this were happening negatively, we would see reports, or I'd see it on Twitter. I see everything on Twitter. I don't see graduation rates coming down. So it doesn't feel like it's affecting it.
Okay, you think it ain't?
Is that right? You tell me.
A lot of things they don't show you what they want to show you. It's affecting. It's affecting people.
Isn't the APR still a thing?
Yes, it is.
I don't see more track programs being busted on APR.
Well, they ain't been putting it out there, but it's some programs. It's affecting the program. On my campus, it's affecting some programs. But the APR also, you got so many ways through the APR where a kid go to another school and eligible to go to another school, you good. You don't lose no points for that.
Good.
So there's ways that you can make them points back if a kid go to a school and eligible, all that good stuff. But
well, that's good, because that means you're graduating.
I think in another couple more years it will be more out. It ain't that much right now, but it's some out there. But I think another year or two it will be more, because they just changed the rule that they can go anywhere. They can go transfer anytime you want to.
All right,
You
here's the
know,
other thing I hear. This conversation has gone off the rails, by the way, but in a very, very good way. And I told you when we started this that I felt like this was going to be a lot of fun because, again, Chris and I are friends as well as,
yeah,
working together business wise and, coaching fraternity and things like that. So I feel so I have a lot of trust with you, Chris, meaning I ask you a lot of questions that I really like to be asked. And I know you'll give me the straight skinny, you'll give me the truth here. So here's the other thing that perturbs me when I hear about transfer portal. And I don't know that I've heard the numbers for track, but there's a lot of similarities. I hear this a lot for basketball and football. I'll hear the stat of making up numbers because I don't know the actual numbers, but 7,000 basketball kids put their names into transfer portals, but only 1,000 got scholarships, meaning you 6,000 screwed up. And it's like,
that's
okay,
true.
if that's true, I'm always going
That's
to say
true.
if. Okay, if that's true, that means 6,000. If we're talking about basketball, it means scholarship to kids traditionally. Because if they're walk-ons, I hate to say that we're not really talking about them, but we're not talking about them. We're talking about scholarship kids. That 6,000 kids who had scholarships aren't getting scholarships because they didn't get picked up out of the transfer portal. Well, that means there's 6,000 spots for high school kids and JUCO
Yeah.
kids.
And well, I don't know that number that big, but I think it
It's
was a
big.
year ago.
I don't know the
I
numbers,
think
but it's big. It's a thousands
I
of
think
number.
I think it was 2 years ago. It was a big number out there. There were a lot of kids in all. I mean, not just all the sports wasn't getting picked up, and
If they're not
some
getting
of them
picked
end up.
up, that means those spots are available for high schoolers.
That's true too. But a lot of high schools, well, some of them was getting picked up. Some high school kids, some people took the high school kid over. And a lot of kids didn't get picked up because of grades. A lot of kids didn't
Yeah,
get
yeah,
picked up because they weren't
grades
eligible.
are. Yeah, I'm talking about kids who
You
are
know,
eligible.
a lot of people,
Yeah,
a
yeah.
lot of people didn't. I think
That's
a lot of
table.
kids
That's
weren't.
table stakes. You
Yeah,
got to be eligible.
yeah. I think a lot of the numbers so big like that because a lot of kids was leaving as a senior. I got one more year in school and I want to bounce.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, and I just think this. I don't mind kid leaving. Like I said, I got over there because the one lead, just go find you somebody else.
Right.
But I think that I go back to what I told you about loyalty. I think that it's no loyalty no more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why it's hard to keep a team. That's why you will never see, I don't think we'll never see the same team dominate the NCAA like we used to in some sports, back to back.
But we're still
Because
seeing that in track. It's the
well,
same.
you're seeing it in
It's
track.
the same 5 schools every year
Yeah,
that are out there,
they are, but
and
you
that's
ain't
not going
gonna
to
see it.
change.
Well, with this 45 is not gonna change. But
Exactly.
I just think that and not track might be different, but other sport, I don't see the Alabama dominate like they did 10 years ago in football.
Maybe.
I don't see football. I don't see football and basketball dominate like that.
Yeah.
But track, I can see because track, you don't need but 5 people to win a championship track. The first person score 50 points, you win.
Do you think this? Let's play ideal world here. I know this is not what real world's going to be. Let's play ideal world. Next year, so not 26, every Division I is going to have a roster cap of 45. And I know there's some intricacies of like if you participate in revenue sharing, that means yes, but if not, and I don't think anybody knows what that means if you're not, and all those kind of things. But let's just say every Division I can only have 45 kids on the track team. And let's say here's the real not real world. Let's say every one of those schools gives out 45 full rides. Now I know that's not real world.
Well, that'll be a good world if we can. But
Okay.
I say that.
Do you think? So here's my question with that. So we're playing fantasy land here. 40 every school 45, every school 45 full rides. Let's play that out for 5 years. Do you think when we look at the top 10 NCAA Division I teams, men and women, do you think it looks different than it looks today?
Not that much.
I don't think
a
it does
little
either.
bit. A little bit.
Maybe.
I mean, a little bit. I think it might be some schools come up. I think some schools might come up that can be up there, can come up, but I don't think it ain't gonna change them. I think I don't care how many scholarships. This is my opinion about track and field. I tell people around here at UFAB, I'm not a track coach. I'm a sports performance coach. I don't train. I think coaches for people who deal with X and O. I train people to run fast. I train people to jump and throw fast. So I look at myself. I train people. So I think to me, I look at it different than coaching. It's like football and basketball. But me saying this to say this, it will change, but you still got to coach the sport. And regardless, you got a 4 or 5 scholarship. If I was at a big Power 5 school and I got 4 or 5 scholarship, if I ain't a top 5 school right now, I don't care about it because it ain't gonna make me better. Because in the day, if I can't coach, I can't be up there in the top 5.
That was my
those
point.
who up there, the kids, the guys and the young ladies, the programs is already in the top 5 right now. They're the one they're gonna win regardless because they can coach.
That was my point. I was
they know how to recruit and they putting the right people on their team to win.
Yep.
So those who don't win, those who at a Power 5 school or wherever you want to be at, and you take 10 people to the NCAA championship and you don't score a point, it ain't you. To me, I'm gonna beat you anyway. I'm gonna score some points. So I don't personally think it ain't gonna hurt me. It ain't gonna hurt the person who already winning. Yeah. It's gonna hurt the ones in the middle who ain't doing nothing but got all the money. You ain't scoring no points anyway.
I don't know that I could agree with you more. I like to use Mouse as my example because, good friend, also Gill podcast alum. I think about him and I go, okay, he's got 12.6 on the men today. He's going to get 45 tomorrow. He's going to win. He can coach and win at 12. What do you think 45 is going to do?
That's the point.
Carol Smith
going to win.
Carol Smith Gilbert.
She's going to win.
He's winning at 12 now. What makes you think she ain't winning at 45?
Yeah. So,
but here's what interesting. I never heard how you put what you said about coach versus performance. I love that you actually said that because that's what I think about the difference between a track coach and a football coach and a basketball coach. It's like, oh, they're doing a lot of X's and O's, which is important. But a track coach is looking at this human body saying, how do I make it jump farther? How do I make it run fast? That's different. That's human performance. So I agree with that.
That's big difference.
But I wonder, this kind of popped in my head when you were describing that, and I loved how you described that. I wonder if the playing field is even, that's a big air quote there, by the way, and everybody has 45 scholarships. I wonder if the strategy, the strategic side of coaching comes in, because now if right now with 12.6, it's kind of feast and famine. Like you have to focus on 1 or 2 and maybe and a half event groups to win nationals. There are no, I don't believe, full team national championships. They're very, very rare. I should say it that way because maybe there is. But today in NAU, which I love that, Northern Arizona was like, were they runner-ups or something like that at outdoor indoor track, because they're not a traditional, but they put a lot, not all, because, they actually had a weight thrower qualify for nationals, which I thought that was cool, but, but certainly a majority of their 12.6 is in distance. Now that you're going to have 45, I think it's going to be more strategic on how you event-wise. Yeah. I think it actually, you might have to have a more balanced team to do it.
You can have more balance. I think that you can have more balance in it, but back to the whole thing is that the ones who win is going to continue to win.
I think so.
And the ones who not, they're not going to win. I just think, me personally, I don't want to deal with all the people because you got to deal with a lot of people, and some schools already got 45 people on their roster on women's side, on the men's side.
Certainly.
So that number of having athletes ain't the problem. Now you able to get 45 people scholarships. I think you're going to be a lot of people transfer portal because people just running around and going to school. Because I think going to be a lot of people running around school to school.
Okay, hold on. I wanted to agree with you when you said that. But then I started thinking about this because what I was going to, and when you were explaining that, I was going to ask you this question. But don't you, if you were to get 45 full rides, so every kid on your school, on your roster is a full ride, just like football, wouldn't you like to be, wouldn't you like to get rid of the bidding process that you currently have in track and fields? Like, oh, she's probably really just a 10% for me. Oh, wait, someone came and offered 15. And I know the percentages don't matter because of the cost of school, but just stay with me. And so now you're like, well, I really do need her event though, so I better go 20%. And this kid's a lot better, so I'll go 75. But this school offered the full. You get rid of that, and now it's like I want you on the team, which means it's a full ride. Don't you want to get rid of that?
Well, you ain't gonna get rid of that. That's still gonna happen.
No, they're all full rides. They're all full rides.
But somebody they ain't gonna. But the thing is though, okay, if they all gonna be full ride, people still gonna leave. People gonna still leave.
No. Pause there. I'm with you. I'm going to get with that in a second. But just on the full ride or not full ride, equivalency versus full head count.
Yeah,
Wouldn't you look forward to that? I would look forward to that.
I would. I mean, I do that now. It's so simple. I
about
do
this.
it now. I give.
With football, like here's what I think about for Division I football coaches, because it's all full ride. So there's no like, we're going to offer more and all this kind of stuff. So when a kid decides to go outside the big, when you start talking about money and where it's the better future for NFL, but when a kid is deciding between schools, it's like, I'm not deciding on money anymore because they're all full rides. Now I'm deciding on all these other things that we say is really important in college: the school, the major, the location, the coach, the program. Yeah. Like that, it's no more a bidding war. I don't know. I just would think.
I'm looking forward to it. I don't think I will have 45 people on scholarship, but right. I'm looking forward to offer full rides.
Yeah.
But I think personally, from my standpoint, in my institution, I'm gonna be careful who I give full rides to. I'm not gonna give full ride to anybody. I'm gonna give full ride because how I recruit right now, I look at a kid. Can that kid as a freshman walking in the door and score in the SWAC championship,
right,
or run good, or be in the top 15 or 20 in cross country,
right?
So that's why I look at kids right now. So that's gonna be always gonna be really my focus. If you can't come in and help the program right now, I don't need you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that, like right now, I want a kid, and I think this kid can help the program. I think the kid will come in and score the freshman year. I do offer full ride automatic. Mm-hmm. If I really think this kid got the potential, because I say, he gonna score. He might not score big, but he gonna score this year. I'm gonna develop him to score. As we get on down the line, he gonna score big, and big.
Right.
So I think that, like you say about the bidding war, that will cut that out.
Yeah.
We won't have that no more. We'll just like, you everybody in your full ride. Now all of a sudden you gotta pick who you want to get trained by and who you want to go to school and get your education from.
And the program. Like, these guys, whether it's, they focus on sprints, or I like that they don't focus on sprints. I'm a sprinter, but I like that they're going to have thrower. There's people that are attracted to that. Yeah, you get to now focus on that. So now about the transferring though, at first I was thinking, I was kind of like, the transfer portal is still going to be nuts because, again, kids can leave or whatever. But isn't there some percentage of kids that are transferring because they want to move from 10% to 50% scholarship or 50% to full ride? And now that would be gone. So those people transferring, the reason is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, you got kids do that. I haven't experienced that. A lot of my kids left for the reason they didn't leave because of money. I try to give my kids with scholarship money, academic money, Pell Grant. I work hard and get my kids a package deal so they won't have to get loans out and maybe get a refund back. Never know. But I think that will cut it out. I think that will cut the kids out. You can't worry about everybody getting you a full ride.
Right.
But the thing that you gotta look at transfer now. If you at my school and you ain't doing nothing in my school, who else gonna take you?
Right.
You gotta look at that now. You gotta look at, I'm on a full ride over here and I ain't scored no point in conference championship. Who gonna take me? I get a transfer. Who gonna take me?
Right.
You're gonna be like, well, I don't think nobody gonna take nobody who can't score no points.
Yeah. Thinking about that as you're answering that, my reasoning of the kids who want to try to move from 10 to 50 or 50 to 100%, that's not today's basketball and football world. They're all full rides, and yet that transfer portal is still hotter than all get out. So yeah. It's different. I'm thinking about those kids that are transferring. When you just talked about that kid that's transferring, it's like, where are you going to transfer to? Like, we know who. Track is so data driven. So like, if you jump 18 feet at your place, well, I can expect that you're going to jump 18 feet at the other place, barring coaching or whatever. But with basketball, it's like, well, why should I take you? You rode the pine at such and such school. And it's like, yeah, but coach didn't like me. The system doesn't fit me. In your system, I can do, and that may be true. Where in track, it's like, I mean, you're coming from Chris McCoy's program. He's a pretty good coach. What if he ain't doing it there? What the heck you gonna do it here? Yeah.
And that's what I look at. I mean, people don't look at it, that's how I look at it. I'm like, you didn't jump. What thing I'm gonna do with you?
Right. Yeah.
I'm a big on, if you got it, you got it. I don't care who coaching you. I always say, if you got it, you got it. I don't care. A blind man can coach you. If you good, you good. That's how I look at it. I mean, and some people, like I always say, some people do, some people can coach some people, but it's good. But yeah.
I mean, there's certainly coaching still matters, right? Like when,
Yeah, it does.
and maybe
it does a lot.
and maybe someone like Nikisha Price is a good example, bringing it back to her. You know, she went, I think she went junior college, right? I think she's a junior
Yeah, she
college
was
kid.
our Western first.
Yeah. And she ran fast, like
Yeah.
54, 53.
52.
Did she run 52?
I think she ran 52.
Let's say she ran 52, which that's fast. Come on, you know, but in 1 year with Chris and Boogie, she went 49. Now that is not a
48.
slam. 48. Sorry. Now that is not a slam on Iowa Western's coaches, by the way. I love those guys. I know them very well. I'm just saying, in a different program, and when I say different program, weather is different in Arkansas than it is in Iowa Western, for crying out loud.
But she got an indoor facility in Arkansas.
Indoor facility, training mates, you know, having other fast, you know, certainly Arkansas women's 400s were, you know, they had a pretty good training group this year.
Yeah, to run 317,
3:8, yeah. You know, what they go 1, 2, 3, 4 at NCs. I mean, it's stupid. Yeah. It's crazy. So coaching, you know, environment and coaching matters, and that was the example I just want to use with Price. Okay, I love this conversation, Chris. These are one of those conversations where I'm like, you know, if no one listens, I don't care. I benefited from. Now I know a lot of people are going to benefit from this and listen to it. All right, so Bethune-Cookman, that's where you and I meet. You're with Garfield, love him. You go to Hampton, so you're with Maurice now.
I'm with the Mo-P man,
who's also a Gill podcast alum. He's a guy, you know, he reminds me of what I just said about Hop, that I'm not sure gets his dues. Like, you know, has coached a lot of good people and is a good dude. Maurice is another guy that has, you know, coached a lot of good kids, a lot of Olympians, and I'm not sure a lot of people give him the due that he deserves. Loved having him on the show. So you're with him again. You have this. What is this knack you have? It's almost like a magnetism to like really good coaches. You know, your high school coach, Hop, George, Garfield, Maurice now. Like you're like a magnet for this, my man.
Well, when I went to Mo-P, I learned a lot about organizing a team to win championships. I learned a lot about just how to just be in an environment where you don't have everything you want or everything you need to be successful, but you're gonna make a way.
Right.
And I think that's what all the coaches I've been around, Hobbs, my high school coach, Garfield, Coach William, Maurice, I just learned how to deal with the situation I'm in and make the best of. That's when my recruiting game got better at Hampton. I say because of environment, what Coach Pierce already done at him before I got there, how he been winning championship, people going to the NCAA, people going to the Olympics. It was easy to recruit there. It was very easy to recruit at Hampton. And we recruit some good kids at him. I think my first recruit player at Hampton, we brought in 10 girls. Yeah, and that was I think he told me that was the biggest class. No, we brought more than 10, brought 13 girls.
Wow.
He said that was the biggest class he ever brought in before. So I learned a lot from Coach Pierce.
Found your way in the recruiting for someone who struggled.
Yeah, I did. I actually found my way to recruit. And one thing, it go back to their relationships. And some relationships are good and some relationships are not bad. But I found that niche and building a relationship. And I get a bunch of emails from everybody around the world now. Even coaches at Power 5, hey, you want to talk to this person? Yeah, I will. And so I had a lot of opportunity to now work with Coach Pierce. He's one of my good friends. Him and Garfield was in my wedding, so they're my boys. Wow. They were two of my good friends.
So how many years at Bethune-Cookman?
3 years.
How many years at Hampton?
2 years.
And then from there to Pine Bluff.
I came to Pine Bluff.
Why?
And how I got a job at Pine Bluff was Maurice Pierce. When I got there, I told Coach Pierce, I said, man, I want to be a head coach. And I asked him, I said, what does it take to be a head coach? And first thing he came out at paperwork.
I said, what? Boys and girls, that's the truth.
He said, you already know how to do the paperwork. And you all right. He said, you got everything else. You can recruit, you can coach, paperwork. And he said, I hate doing that paperwork. And I actually did all his paperwork for him when I got there with Mo-P. I did everything for Mo-P. He didn't have to worry about nothing. I don't think he had to worry about signing the document. Let me go turn it in. And he said, I did all the orders, I did everything. I made sure all the hotel was done. I made sure I did all the logistics stuff. And all he had to do sign the document, say, hey, I signed up. Sometimes he tell me, go sign my name, but just put MP on that, send it to him. But it was good experience. And how I got the UAPB, the AD, that's another word I learned, how you gotta know administrators to be a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
The AD at Hampton left Hampton and came to UAPB to be the head AD here. And he asked Coach Pierce, he called Coach Pierce, asked Coach Pierce, he got in one of his coaches want to be a head coach. And he told him, well, I'm going to Arkansas, Pine Bluff. He said, well, I got a man for you. He said, Coach McCoy. He from Arkansas. And the next morning, I'm walking down the hallway in the building. The AD he ain't left yet. He came in. He said, I need to talk to you. I said, you want to be a head coach? I said, yeah, I would like to be one day. He said, I'm going to be the head. I'm moving to Arkansas to be the AD. I want you want to come with me? I already knew about Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm from here. I said, yeah. I said, how much you going to pay me? That's what I asked. He said, well, he said, we got to talk about that. I said, shit.
He's like, I ain't even there, bud. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what he told me.
He's like, I barely know how much they paying me.
He said, I don't know you how. He said, I don't know you how all these coaches like you got. He said, I don't know. I can give you all the coaches like you got at we had at Hampton, but I know we could pay you decent. I said, okay. And we told him to send me my resume. I sent him my resume. We met. We talked about everything, APR and all that stuff. And he told me, he called the president here at the school and told him, I got my man want to be the track coach. And because they had no track coach here. They had no track coach. The guy was here, he left. And they ain't left, he got fired. And I said, okay. And I took the job. And he paid me. I made more money than I ever made in my life. I look at it, because I ain't never made that much money. $60,000, I ain't never made that much money. And he gave me the job, told me I could get 3 coaches and 2 GAs. I said, well, I can work with that.
Yeah.
And I've been here. I've been at UAPB now, going on 14. This coming up year will be my 14th year here.
Is that right?
Yeah, I've been here since 2011.
Man, time goes by fast, dude. I knew you've been here for a while. I was going to say 8 years.
Yeah,
14.
No, I've been here 14 years.
Wow.
Time go by fast when you're having fun. I like it.
That's a good point.
I'm in the moves. I have opportunities to lead, but I chose not to because I'm looking at. I don't like moving. I hate moving. I hate moving. I hate moving.
Amen.
It's 2 things I don't like doing. I don't like moving. I don't like painting.
And you got to paint when you move a lot of times.
I don't want to paint, so that's why I want to move. So I'm happy. I'm cool. I ain't got everything I want. I'm praying. One of the biggest things, and is I want the track. I want to build this track facility get built here at UAPB. I don't want to leave until I'm the first one in it, because I put my sweat and tears in the things I do here, and I don't want to leave. We let somebody else have fun on something that I work hard.
Yeah, right. That's a good point.
So I've been having some good ADs, and I had a lot of different ADs, and I've been at UAPB. But right now, I'm the oldest coach on the staff. I'm the oldest head coach here. We got a new head coach for every sport. I've been along any head coach.
You're the godfather of coaches at UAPB.
That's what they call me around here. They call me Godfather. I said, I'm not a godfather. I'm just doing what I do. I survived. I told them I can survive. Anybody can survive. But I don't coach the money. I don't coach the revenue sport.
Yeah, right.
I ain't got to worry about that.
HBCUs kind of went through a moment with the whole Deion Sanders, Jackson State, that brought a lot of mainstream media, and there was a lot of celebration of HBCUs, a lot of time and attention, rightfully so, spent on them. It does seem, unfortunately, again, mainstream media, now that Deion's gone to Colorado, that HBCUs are back to like, oh yeah, they're there, but we're not celebrating them like maybe we should. I've enjoyed every HBCU coach we've had here. Richie Bean from Alabama State. I talked about Maurice at Hampton and some others. I love it. Your career, not counting KCK, and I'm not sure if St. Aug's technically, I know there's a definition, or there's like I don't want to call it a conference, but there's an actual set guideline, I guess, for HBCU. St. Aug's is an HBCU, right?
Yeah, HBCU, yeah.
So your undergrad at HBCU, your first full-time job at Bethune-Cookman, Hampton, and now Pine Bluff. Is is this on purpose? And what is the importance of being a African-American male in our sport for you coaching at an HBCU, at HBCUs, plural?
Well, I don't think it's on purpose. I actually applied for a lot of Power 5 schools. Like I say, I didn't get them, but I don't think it's on purpose. I think that, I mean, I grew up around HBCU because my family, a lot of my family members went to HBCU. So I've been on HBCU campus all my life. So I don't think it's the purpose. I just think I got an opportunity to coach. A lot of times, I don't look at that. I look at, I got an opportunity to coach and I'm trying to win. That's how I look at it. And, will I lead? Yes, I would lead. If I tell you I won't lead, I'd be lying to you. So will I lead HBCU? Yeah, I would lead. The right opportunity, the right school call, and the right place for me and my wife, I would lead. But it just, I guess, the cause I've been dealt with, and I try to make the best of it. I can't sit here and pound about it because I feel like a lot of HBCUs in track and field have done a lot. You got some guys at Power 5 schools who went to HBCU, and people don't even know. There's a lot of Power 5 coaches that I know, head coaches at Power 5, went to a HBCU school. And some of them started at HBCU coaching. Like my boy Dwayne Ross, that's my boy. I met Dwayne Ross back in North Carolina days. Dwayne started off at North Carolina A&T, and now he at Tennessee. Even Tim Hall went to South Carolina State.
That's right.
You know, and like I said, if it meant for me to be at a Power 5, I'll be at a Power 5. But I'm enjoying my life. I'm enjoying what I do. I get up, I do something. I tell people here on campus, I said, I think this is the best job in the world, working on a college campus. You know, like I said, that's why I think it's the best job, because I don't have no micromanage people. Ain't nobody micromanage me around here. I get the job done. I do what I do. But I just think it's an opportunity for me, and I'm doing what I want to do, and I'm doing what I like to do, and I'm enjoying what I'm doing. And when I tell people this, when I stop enjoying it, that's when I'm gonna go. But I'm enjoying it. I think COVID-20 helped me a lot to do other things. I started getting involved in other things, playing more golf, fishing, hunting, shooting guns, and flying 4-wheelers. So I got myself involved with other stuff. So when I do get ready to retire, I have something to go do. I don't want to just sit around. I don't want to coach till I'm 100 years old. I see coaches who coach 80 years old. Nah, I don't want to do that. I don't think nobody should do that. I look at some of the coaches out there still coaching. Like, I know you ain't coaching for no money.
All right.
You know, why are you coaching? And you might say you coaching because you got the thrill. You still love it. That's cool too. But I think when you get a certain age, you barely can walk around. You barely get around. I think, it's time to let this go. It's time to go do something else. That's my opinion. But you can't tell them. I was excited about when I hate the way they did my coach at St. Hall, push him out of there. But I think it was time for him to retire anyway. He said, "Oh, just go do something." He found another life because he always had played golf a lot. He playing golf every day. Every time I look on Facebook, he on golf. He's somewhere
always,
golfing. So that ain't that he couldn't go do nothing else. He just didn't want to do nothing. But I tell people that I don't want to be here till I'm 90 years old. If I see 90, I want to see 100 years old, but I want to coach. And one thing I learned, two of my uncle and Dwayne Ross taught me this, to save my money. So when I first started at Hampton and Bethune-Cookman, I put 100% of my retirement. So Dwayne Ross told me, you put 100%, you ain't gonna see it, so you ain't gotta worry about it.
Right.
So I've been saving I hope nothing happen. Pray God nothing happen, but my retirement gonna be nice. And I'm gonna sit down, working at a state school. I tell you, I work at a state school is a benefit to me.
Chris, we got to start wrapping up here, but I want to, so that's a real problem and a real passion of mine. It's a real problem in the coaching profession. The opposite, like I maybe assume that you have these type of conversations with your group. We all have a group, in our network, right? But more coaches and more younger coaches need to hear that advice that Dwayne gave you, and now you're living through it. When we get into coaching, we don't, because it's great, it's sports. There's a lot of emotion and passion around it. And I think that's why a lot of people say, oh, you got to pay your dues. You got to make, it's fine that you make 20 grand for the first 3 years. It's like, man, that's terrible. No, you shouldn't make 20 grand your first three. Like you should get
I
paid.
did.
I know, but you shouldn't have.
But
And you
I
shouldn't,
saved my money.
and you shouldn't wish that on this generation. Like you shouldn't have to start
Yeah,
out at
you're
20,000.
right.
You should, you deserve it. But I don't think and it's a young person, not just track coaching, but it's certainly maybe double down a young track coach person. They don't think about that one day, Lord willing, you should be able to retire. And that means you're going
Yeah,
to have money, because that means you're no more income, which means you need to start thinking about retirement savings today. You need to start thinking
yeah.
of it as a 22-year-old, 23-year-old, 24-year-old. Not here's the story I hear. You know what I do, Chris. I talk to coaches all day, every day. That's all I do.
Yeah.
Here's the story I hear. Coaches that are in our age bracket, we're in the 50s tomorrow, basically, for guys like me and you. It's real close. And they have no savings, or they have 10,000 in retirement savings. And it's like, yeah, now that I'm 50, I'm starting to think about, well, man, retirement's, maybe 15, maybe less years away. I better start saving. It's like, it's not too late. If you haven't started at 50, please start now. But it would have been a lot better if you'd have started at 22, 23, 24, your very first job, putting in whatever it is to get the match and things like that. We need more people like you that are going to see the benefit of that when you retire, talking to people today. We've got to get the profession of coaching track and field has to professionalize. And what I mean by that is it's not just this hobby that we get paid a little bit for. It is a real
Yeah.
profession. It is a real
It is.
job that has real consequences, that has real benefits for other people. You benefit in your category as a college coach, 18 to 22-year-old kids. You give real benefit to them. You make real sacrifices in your personal life and professional life. You deserve to get paid, and you deserve to retire one day. To your point about people being out there till they're 100 and things like that, you deserve to have a life. Your life should not revolve around coaching. It's a role.
That's true.
It's a role that you do, but you, like talking about you here, Chris, you're a son. You're a husband. Maybe you're a brother. There are other roles, and those are more important. Your husband to your wife is way more important than coaching. It really
True.
is.
That's
But a
true.
lot of times we put that coach as number one, that role of coach number one, and everything else sacrifices. And the only way that changes is a coach who's getting in the business today at 25 is looking up to you now, Chris, and says, wait a minute. So you started saving for your retirement at 25? Well, I guess that's what you
Yeah.
do as a coach. I guess I better start doing that. But they don't know that if we don't talk about these things. So I just want to encourage you and other guys like Dwayne, also a podcast alum. You can, I don't necessarily need you to go to Sam Seams and say, hey, Sam, I want to present at the convention and I want to present about 401ks. But just as effective, I need you to talk to those kids, the kids that you're hiring. I say kids, these 25-year-old kids that you're hiring, these kids that come up to you and say, hey, so I'm a GA right now. You're a head coach. I want to be a head coach one day. Have the conversations past the X's and O's of what's it mean to be a professional, a human being who chooses to be a track coach. That's a profession. How do you make that kid better when they're 45 and 55? Not just how do you make them coach a long jumper better, or in your case, a high jumper better. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I just
You're
want to
right.
encourage you and your network to have those conversations, man. It'll make the profession better.
Yes.
All right, I'm off my soapbox, and we've come to the end of our time. Dude, Chris, I knew, first of all, let me apologize. The number one goal of this podcast is to uplift and honor your journey. And we did very little talking about your journey.
What we talk about? I have a good journey. I feel like I did a lot. I'm still trying to get more out of it.
Chris,
I'm having fun.
I know you really well, and I didn't know this like Hall of Fame cadre of coaches that you've had with you the whole time. I mean, that's just, again, it's amazing that you're a product of the people that you're around, and this makes a lot more sense of why I hold you to such high esteem. It's like, oh, you hanging around a bunch of people I think also of high esteem, so that makes a lot of sense. But I think what we didn't get to really dive deep as I usually do in your journey, I think the conversation that we had around recruiting, your struggles initially daily recruiting and now what you do recruiting, that's night and day. Those conversations and about, management of your team and stuff like that. I think that is going to provide a lot of value to those people who choose to press play. So I'm very grateful for your really your openness and authenticity to have that conversation.
Yeah.
It's not usually an open book sometimes with people, and I understand why, but I'm really grateful
Yeah.
for you and your position there.
Yeah, I really do thank for being on the podcast. I wonder when I'm gonna be on one. I know this is my first one I ever did, so
Is that
I
right?
really
Oh,
that's the
yay.
first time I've ever been on the podcast.
Nice.
I thank you for having me on. When I seen the email, I said I got to do it because if I don't do it, he gonna be mad at me. But
No,
I'm
no.
glad I'm glad I had the opportunity to do it.
Yeah.
I just want to share I had some good people. I still have good people in my corner, and taught me some good things about the profession, how to be a professional in this sport. But I just want everyone to know, focus on yourself. Focus on what you got to do to be the best you want to be. You can't worry about what everybody do at this school and that school. You take what you got and you make it the best of. Because we'll never be equal. I don't care. You hear the power. Even some of the Power 5 schools ain't equal. Because Oregon is not. I don't know how they equal somebody. Oregon got the best facility in the world. So how can I say Oregon equal? Oregon, you will never be equal regardless what school you work at, small, big. It ain't gonna be equal.
Right.
You just gotta keep working, keep learning the sport, learn the profession, and love what you do. Don't do it just for a check. That's the one thing that I don't do. I mean, I like getting paid. I like paying my bills and bought me a new truck. I like that, but I don't do it for the money. I do it because I actually come to work every day excited about what the next day gonna bring for me in my coach. And I don't like. I tell you this, you might look at me crazy. I don't like the summertime. He said, "Why you don't like the summertime?" I like to be working. I like my kids here, and I can't wait to get back. They start coming back next week for cross country. Kids start coming back, and everybody else coming back the week after that. I can't wait to start track practice. I can't wait. That's the thrill I have every year. After summertime over. I mean, we all need a little break. I have my little break. I don't need but 1 week. I'm good. But the world of track and field to me is a very dear place to me. And I love it. I love working with the people I work with. I love coming to the NCAA championship. I love doing all the things I do. So, like you say, when I do have a conversation with other young coaches, I tell them, we all gonna go different ways to get what we're trying to get to, but you got to do something for yourself. And that's one thing I learned from the people older than me. They told me, hey, you got to take care of yourself because you're going to retire one day. But if I don't see that retirement money, somebody going to get it. I know my wife going to get all of it. But Mike, I really enjoyed being on here with you. If you want to do a second podcast, we can do it. And, I like this.
I love your advice. And if you're listening, I would recommend you hit that rewind button a little bit and re-listen to what he said. A lot of important things there. And what I really love about it is the authenticity, because you've lived that out since a high schooler, for crying out loud, doing what's best for you, making a decision of like, all right, I'm not going to do football my senior year. Your senior year, by the way, that's supposed to be the most fun and all that kind of stuff year. I'm going to focus on track and field. So you've been living that advice since a 17-year-old, my friend. So I love that authenticity. And that's what I know you the best. So I know it's what I expect from you as well. So, all right, guys and gals, thank you so much for being here. Chris, the most valuable thing you can give me is your time, man. And so I'm really grateful for your time here today. And, I love you to death. And I'm just so proud to not just call you, someone I do business with. I'm very proud to call you a friend as well.
Me too. Thank you, Brian.
Thanks for you guys for being here. Join us next week. We'll do it all over again and we'll have some fun. Maybe not as much fun as this, because this is pretty special for me, but we're going to try to do our best. See you next week, guys.